My goal for this session is to leave you feeling empowered, to feel equipped with tools, approaches, practicalities, and mysteries, all wrapped up in a bundle, because that's just how I like to approach things. Left brain, right brain, creative, and we get to address all the parts of ourselves, right? So welcome. Thank you so much for coming. Today, we are going to be tuning in together on one of the biggest pain points of humanity. And I'm so excited. So we're going to let people arrive. I'm dropping in. Get your lunch, get your smoothie, get your journals, because we're going to do a journaling exercise at the end that you're going to absolutely love. Yes. This 5 days to flourish challenge. And I feel like today is an apex day. We're really at the pinnacle of something here. Yes, yes, yes. So it's really cool that today we're talking about fear of public speaking. For example, is your greatest fear that you organize a workshop and nobody shows up? How embarrassing. Or would your greatest fear be that you are invited to speak on a TED Talk stage and you draw a blank? So let's get in tune with, if we are very confident people, what is it that would even provoke us to feel like, oh, this is not okay, and either be in a shutdown mode or just maybe talking a lot in a frenzied mode, relying too much on our mind and on our heart. So thank you for being here. We're going to continue to allow people to arrive in their own time. And what I'll do is just put myself on speaker view. Da-da-da. Amazing. Okay. So I just figured out how to do the pin myself in the view for the recording after, for those beloved challenge mamas who cannot join us live. Let's dive in. We are here. We are together in the 5 days to flourish challenge. And we're in day 4 of 5. So congratulations to all of you for showing up. Your consistency is literally giving me life force energy and inspiring. I see each of you. I've been sending some of you messages just to be like, I see you. I see your commitment. And it's going to crack open parts of your life that you didn't even know were mysteriously awaiting to give you life back. So just trust that as we go on this journey today into this conversation about all of the parts of us that are scared to show up, all of the parts of us that are scared to speak and present from our hearts and our gifts, all of that is going to be addressed and looked at today. My goal for this session is to leave you feeling empowered, to feel equipped with tools, approaches, practicalities, and mysteries, all wrapped up in a bundle, because that's just how I like to approach things. Left brain, right brain, creative, and we get to address all the parts of ourselves, right? So we are here. I am beaming in from Tulum, Mexico. It is such an honor to work and serve from this traditional Mayan land. So just taking a moment, also that sacred pause to acknowledge the wisdom keepers, past, present, future, across all timelines, who allow us to be in their space. So it's an honor and a freaking joy to connect with you today about learning how to love sharing, even when you think nobody. All right. We are back with power. We are getting encouraged, I guess, by the Mayan elders to really acknowledge their power. Isn't that funny? So I'll just start by saying one of my greatest fears is what just happened, being seen as technologically unprofessional, right? So this is perfect, because if this had happened a year ago, I would be sweating. My palms would be sweating buckets. Having any kind of glitch would freak me out, throw me off center, and then I would be in my head. My voice would shift. I wouldn't be in control. So thank you to the forces that be for the glitch, just to be like, hey, Emily, are you living from your heart? And are you still scared of your worst case scenario happening in front of these powerhouse women? Because I see all y'all and you're powerful ladies. So thank you so much for this opportunity. It's perfect. Yum, 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 yum. I could eat it all up, just like your gorgeous auras. So today, as I said, we're talking about public speaking and facing our greatest fears. I'm going to be providing you with perspectives. I'm going to be providing you with tools and live training, as well as a journaling exercise. So if you can, grab either a fresh Google document, or maybe you're like me, you're super analog and you love journals and you have 100 notebooks lying around the house, each with its own purpose. Okay, so if you feel it, you can put your greatest fear that you would like to work through in the chat box if you haven't already. So is it around having an email list, for example? Or is it your desire to get over your fear of speaking on Instagram lives? What is it that you would like to get to? You know, because it's one thing to be scared in general, but let's talk about where you would like to go. What is something that you would feel really good about working towards? And in the meantime, I'm going to talk with you about doubt. Because for me, the underlying doubt that we're really going to address today is the doubt that we aim towards ourselves, that we're not good enough, that our voice is not worthy, it is not appropriate, it doesn't matter, it's not going to make an impact. All of these doubts are so toxic. But here's the crazy thing about doubt. It is only a problem when we direct it to ourselves. Otherwise, doubt is like this neutral big papa, and he is just asking questions incessantly. He can be annoying, but doubt is not inherently toxic to us. What happens is that doubt is this force of evolutionary drive. Doubt is here to be like, could you have done it better? How can you ride the horse better? Is your posture as good as it can be? And all of this doubt is really good because it keeps us asking questions and stops us from being lazy. It keeps the human race, our societies, our businesses evolving. Have you ever thought about doubt like that before? Doubt is not inherently bad. He's the big papa. And what happens is that oftentimes, because we and our egos are so, we're navel gazers, like by design, right? We think it's all about us. And we're going to talk about this today, but it's not about you. So the trick is, when you feel self-doubt, to then start getting curious instead. How could I do this differently? Instead of being like, oh, I wonder if anybody cares, we just get curious. I wonder how many people I can impact today. So that's just a fundamental difference that I felt like sharing with you, because it's helped me immensely. But why is it that it's so scary? Before we get into tools, let's just set the stage here. A few facts. When people in the UK were asked what their number one fear in life was, 98% replied public speaking. Okay, that's a lot of terrified people. And I'm sure that if we did the same survey in the States, in America, in the UK, basically Australia, the entire Western world, where we have similar fabric and synthesis of our culture, we would share this core fear of being seen in public and judged, found lacking, right? So it's like this experience of being exposed and naked, just like the common dream that a lot of people have, being in front of the classroom and being like exposed naked. The real deal here is that it's okay. And when we understand where the fear comes from, it's the starting point for being able to be with it instead of running from it. So why does it feel so dangerous to be exposed in speaking, whether online or in person? Why does it feel literally dangerous? Because we've been programmed for it to actually be a fight or flight mechanism. Because being kicked out of the tribe, our chosen tribe, is akin to being exposed. And a lot of us don't have the survival skills to be a lone wolf out there and survive. And so when we're putting ourselves on the stage, our survival brain doesn't know the difference between being put up for judgment to be forever expelled and like exiled to death, and just like a chill experience in a classroom where you're standing at the top. We don't know the difference because a lot of us haven't trained ourselves to experience this grounded approach to sharing from the heart. And to make things worse, maybe you haven't thought about this, but being above reproach, this girl, this woman that a lot of our parents groomed us to be, above reproach, perfect, flawless, is the worst, because it's really linked to this idea of be perfect or you won't be taken seriously, right? Be perfect or you're going to get fired from your job and then you're not going to be able to survive. Share with brilliance, or they're going to know you're a faker, that you're not actually qualified, and your entrepreneurial business is going to fail. And so these are just some of the things that can be percolating in the background. Maybe they're not, but it will come to a point where the stage will get big enough that these things will probably pop up. So maybe you're comfortable talking in front of 30 people. Maybe you're comfortable talking in front of 1,000 people. But what about when it's time for your mission to be broadcast in front of 1 million people live, or go on Oprah as a guest? You know, I really desire for you right now to get the tools you need to go anywhere, because I believe fundamentally that your mission, your voice, especially as a woman at this era, at this pinnacle of our new birthing of this new era, like, it is essential for you to be able to go as big as your mission requires of you. Okay, do you guys feel me? Do you feel the difference already? I would like to talk about a tendency to think that the worst is going to happen. Why do we do this? Again, with the protective mechanisms. And then we're going to prepare for it. That's something that we do often, right? Is like, oh, here's my scenario, and then I need to prepare for the worst and hunch over. What happens in our bodies is so fascinating. I invite you to just touch your body for a second if it feels good, and tune into what happens physically when you're scared to present, to show up, to write an email. Do you hunch over in your shoulders? Do you want to lay down, pull the covers over? What physically happens to you, my love, when you're invited onto what we often experience as this pedestal of judgment? So the first thing, in order to overcome this fear that people don't care, that it's not going to matter, is to be with our body, with the fear, and stay there. And I really like to put my hand on my heart and press, you know? And if you're feeling like you're shut down, you can tap it. This is so helpful just as a start to fire up, to activate, and then just press. So let's give a scenario. Scenario is, have you heard of Fit for Service? Is this really big online and in-person community run by spiritual celebrities, and a couple times a year they run retreats. So imagine that you were invited to the live Fit for Service event. Aubrey Marcus is there, the interviewer, the podcast host, the author, and you've been asked to speak on the stage. And there's going to be 5,000 spiritually awakened entrepreneurial powerhouses looking at you. How does that feel? How does that feel in the body? And I know, Grace, you're saying that your dream goal is to meet Oprah because of the service that she's offered the world. And I don't doubt it. So in this scenario, you're working your way up. You're in front of Aubrey Marcus's Fit for Service. Okay, Jacqueline says she feels heavy. A lot of people would freeze. But the first thing that I ask you to do is put your hand on your heart. You're backstage. We're imagining this scenario. You've got 5 minutes before you go on stage. The other speaker is rocking it. People are cheering. And all you're thinking is probably, that's not going to be me. Who am I to have been invited here? Like, oh my God, I'm not ready for this. I haven't even published a book yet. Like, what is going on? And so the first thing is, we stay with the fear. We don't physically run. We don't make an excuse. We don't ask to postpone. We don't go to the bathroom and hide. We don't do all of it. Instead, we ask ourselves, which part of us is feeling terrified. So first, just getting curious. We talked about doubt at the beginning, and being with doubt is cool, but we're not turning it inwards. We're asking with curiosity, which part of me is terrified right now? And then we just start to name it. Oh, the part of me when I was 13, I gave a class presentation and a couple of the guys in the front row laughed at me. And I really felt so much shame that I said, never again am I going to let someone make fun of me or put myself in that position. That's just an example off the cuff of what we need to be present with so we can start to identify the parts of us. And this sounds super basic, and that's how powerful basic stuff gets to be, right? I really believe it, because the next step is to say, we got this. You don't say, I got this. You don't say, you got this. This is super important. You may even want to write this down. We got this. You shift into your own cheerleader pep squad. You're like the mom. You're like the mom and dad at once. You're like, we got this. And you're talking to all the parts of you. They're like, oh my gosh, what did I say yes to this? I have nothing to say. I am unqualified. No, we got this. And you shift and you ground into your power, and you're touching your body to be with your body. And you're just putting pressure. Maybe you're tapping on your heart. Maybe you're tapping here. The point is you're staying with your fear. You're dividing it into parts because it's not running the show anymore, right? It just gets to take this role of being present, being accepted, and then being brought along for the journey. So, right, we got this. We got this. You are so powerful. We got this. Okay, next up, it might still feel a little shaky, and that's okay, because what we're doing is we're going to take ourselves off the pedestal. We're going to accept that when we go out there, we might freeze. We're going to accept that we go out there and maybe the mic is going to go, we're standing in front of 5,000 people. You're walking out there and you're just allowing yourself to be human in front of everybody. That means that if you forget what you're going to say, you literally say, I have no idea why Aubrey Marcus told me to come out here right now because I'm freezing up. And I just ask all of you to send me some love right now. Can you imagine how everyone and the entire room would get behind you in that moment? Oh, that is damn beautiful, right? So by getting human, you can call it vulnerable, but the point is by staying open and with your body, you're just naming exactly what's present for you. You are inviting people into your humanity, and no one can judge you. So you're literally protecting yourself by opening up to everybody. And then everyone else is going to cheer you. Grace says that she was just in a class where that exact scenario happened. Love that. So Juliana, this was your scenario. I don't know what I'm going to say. You say, I don't know what I'm going to say. And you are speaking from your heart. You are in your body, and you're inviting people into your humanity. And what that does collectively, it breaks the chains of pedestaling that keep us separated from each other. It makes you a better vessel to allow love and purpose to flow through you, because you're not trying to act like anything. Thank you. Yes, we're inviting ourselves into a space where we bring people into our humanity. And that's realness, that's building heart connection. And it can be something, even if you're just a little anxious, you get on your Zoom live, you say, I'm feeling a little bit of anxiety. Let's all take a breath together and put our feet on the ground and just imagine whatever it is that you do to feel grounded and supported. And you invite people to do it with you, right? Because there's no more pedestaling in the synarchy. There's no more hierarchy. We are leading from across the floor. Yeah. Yes, 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 yes. So in this scenario, you're at Fit for Service, you're giving your speech and it's going great. And then afterwards, you get off the stage. What can happen? Doubt shows up again. Big Papa's in the house. And he's like, I doubt anyone got anything from that. I doubt that really had an impact. And then the ruminating, those really vicious mental cycles can come in. And this is an important time to catch yourself and to be with your body again, because I'm here for you to show up on repeat, and we're repatterning and recalibrating. And so then, just like before, you said, we got this. Now you're going to say, we did the best we could. We left it all on the floor. We channeled the fucking highest code that we had access to in this now moment, right? Doubt is an evolutionary drive to keep us getting better. We can be curious when we're grounded with a little bit of space, but let's stay neutral about it, right? Let's take a poll. Ask the people, hey, on a scale of 1 to 10, how impactful for you was that talk about this and this subject? We are specific and we can quantify it. And that is helpful for us. You don't take one person's reaction and just make that the story of how everyone was feeling. But in a little moment, we're going to talk about the flip side, about how one person can actually be your saving grace. So how is this landing for everyone? If you were called to talk on a really important stage right now, would you feel a little bit more prepared to stay in your body, to say, we got this? You know, anxiety is literally on the same emotional spectrum as excitement. Is just on the same thing. So by being in our body, we can literally slide the scale from anxiety to excitement. And I don't recommend excitement as a permanent state of being, but in terms of getting through these really extraordinary circumstances where our survival brain is being activated and telling us we could die, it's okay to be in excitement mode. Eventually you're going to be grounded, but it's okay. It's totally a desired state of being if that's the goal that you choose to have. Pattern interrupt, says Juliana. This is so helpful. Amazing. So thank you for going through that scenario with me. I would like to get even more practical now, getting even more tight in on what it is that we are choosing to ground our lives in. And I'll just share a visual before we go into an exercise. So I see each of you as a chalice, like imagine a medieval princess with long hair or a massive flowing afro, whatever feels alive for you as a queen archetype. You are a chalice of different waters that nourish and they cleanse and they grow things into the world. And at birth, you were filled up with a very specific water. And this cup, this chalice of you is always being filled from a source high above and also sustained deep below. You're like a freshwater lake that has groundwater beaming up and fresh rain from the clouds, always bringing in energy and being penetrated by fresh ideas and synthesizing that, like the surface of your lake is being elevated and activated by the waters and the rains of heaven. This is you. Have you ever imagined yourself like this, as this lake? And sometimes we forget this, right? And sometimes we're so in our minds, we go through an entire day without drinking enough water, let alone imagining ourselves as living waters, as women who embody life force energy in a way that women in the past didn't even have the blueprint to even activate. But the grid, who we are and how we're living now, is ready for us to see ourselves in this way. And because we're all here to hold different waters, it is essential for us to begin to share those waters. I am not the same blueprint, code, whatever you want to call it, as any of you in this room or watching this video. And that's the best news ever, right? So the reason I bring up this lake example and why it always feels so nourishing is because it helps me remember on a metaphorical level that there's a lot more going on than the material world. The number of people who show up in the chat room, the number of clicks of people who open the email has almost nothing to do with my impact, my presence, and my magic in the world. So before we go into this journaling exercise, I would just like to talk about email marketing. Raise your hand in the chat if you send emails to people regularly, whether formally on a platform like MailChimp. I use Flowdesk. If you are connecting with people, even if it's an informal group, for example, you have a volunteer group and you all clean the beach on weekends and you just email people, that counts. It absolutely counts. A few of you do. So sometimes we can get really caught up in the open rates, the click rates, the click-throughs. And I do too. I love it when I go over 40%. And part of my ego feels really smug. You know, the metrics of the matrix can be so consuming. And it's good because it can support us in knowing that we're reaching people. And sometimes it is the biggest illusion of them all. Super quick example. When I was starting out as an entrepreneur, and I just realized I haven't introduced myself. Hi, I'm Emily Bauman. We're so deep into the challenge that I feel so connected to all of you. And when I was starting out as an entrepreneur in 2012, I had my first website. Back then, I was a painter living in Haiti. And by day, I was working in the humanitarian sector. I was a communications focal point. And on the weekends, I had this email list and I would have art classes, guide people into their creative activations. And I was getting a website built. I had my freebie, my opt-in. I thought it was the best thing ever. It was like 5 ways to turn on your inner muse and create from your majesty or something like that. And I was so disappointed by the click-through rate. The email was opened by 10 people out of 200 and 1 opened it. Like 1 clicked through to the PDF. So how to be your muse energy. 1 person. And I was devastated. I had paid a graphic designer $500. I had paid thousands to have this website, and 1 person, I was like, I am a failure. And yes, I had a lot to learn as an entrepreneur about surveying the audience and getting a sense of what I can serve people with most. And in that energy, I was saying, this is what I think people need. So yes, there was something to learn. And in this example of me creating something and 1 person opening it, my whole world changed, because a week later, I got an email. And this email had me crying. It was an art student in the States. And she said, Emily, you just changed my entire life. Your suggestion to put on red lipstick made me feel attractive for the first time. I've been bulimic, I've been anorexic, I've been abused by all my boyfriends, and I'm an art student who thinks her art is shit. And your guide took me to places. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so emotional right now, just remembering. And so that's how deep we get to go with people. From the lake of our beings, it only takes 1 person. Exactly, Grace. And so just a reminder that the metrics can be a boost, or they can be the greatest illusion in this illusion of success and Maya. And here we go into a deep breath together for me as well. Just remembering that in every moment we get to redefine our success, right? In every single moment we get to choose. We're self-soothing, we're saying we got this. But I really like to ask the question, who am I showing up for? When it feels like nobody cares, who am I showing up for? This is not about me. I am here in sacred service. I have all this water, this living water, these tools, these experiences, this energy. My very being activates people. My aura, pop, pop, pop. It does stuff to people, and yours does too. Who am I showing up for? What is her name? Where does she live? What is her profession? And so I invite you to get out your journal or a fresh note, or maybe just start to imagine, if you haven't already done this exercise, who is the one woman that I would do all of this for if she's the only one who shows up? Who is the one man that I am willing to spend hundreds of dollars and hours in all of my lessons in, if I can touch his heart and forever leave an imprint that shifts his destiny? I'm willing to do it for that person because I am a woman in sacred service. I am here for the rising of the collective. This is not about me. I'm getting out of the way and letting my values go first. I am here to let my gifts touch whoever is ready. And that may be 5,000 people, and it may be 5 people. I have no idea. And it is not about me. So when you feel like it really doesn't matter, just say, okay, maybe I don't matter. Maybe my gifts matter. Yeah. So that felt really present. And I even have a podcast called The New B.O.S S, B.O.S.S, Beings of Sacred Service. I'll put it in the chat here. The New B.O.S S by Emily Bauman. Because honestly, this is so core to my own reason for being. And your presence here is activating my reason for being. And so, yeah, here we go. If you haven't already opened a journal, a fresh page, or a Google Doc, I invite you to do that because we are going to go into a live exercise that could potentially shift your entire relationship to your divine purpose, your calling, your soul blueprint. Are you ready? So one of my favorite avenues of self-exploration is journaling. It is just writing, because when we put pen to paper, it activates parts of our brain that allows source to come through our hands, bypassing our analytical mind, and we just get to stream. And so we can ask ourselves questions that guide us into spaces that we normally don't access. We don't need plant medicine. We don't need a guru. We are our own medicine woman. And so one of the questions I would ask you now, what do I wish to see more of in the world? What is it that I wish to see more of in the world? More of what? More of what energy? More of what activity? What do I choose to see more of in the world? And I like to frame my answer like this. I choose to create more. And why do I do that? Because in conscious language, we don't say want, we say choose. We don't say want, we say I claim. We don't say I want, we say I am. Because I want actually means I lack. And it takes us further away from this beautiful thing that we wish to see more of in the world, right? So I want gets to be deleted. In conscious language terminology, we just say I delete, I want, and we say I choose, I claim, I create, I am power. These are great power words. So what do I wish to see more of in the world? And if that's not coming clear for you, desire is okay. Desire is also connected to the energy of enslavement in its extreme. Desire, like doubt, never goes away. It's a primal force here on earth to push our evolution forward. So we can never escape desires, and they are signals, but they're also opportunities to enslave us and hook us. So whenever a desire arises, we get to ask, am I going to just feel this and allow it to pass through like an Airbnb guest? Or am I going to hang out with this person and say, you're my new neighbor, and we're going to really hang out? So desire is a really interesting one. Thanks for asking, Grace. I claim, I choose, I am. We don't say I want. What do I claim to bring more of? It is my right to bring more of this in the world. Question number 2. What do I choose to amplify in other people's mission in the world? Sometimes it's easier to look at what other people are doing, say, yeah, and it really lights you up. For example, I have a beautiful friend, Michaela, and anytime it comes to sharing her compassion for dogs, she will do it. She just spent her vacation flying around Mexico and helping pets and animals at different sterilization clinics to support the stray animal population, right? And then we have people like Lisa. Anytime there is a woman who's ready to step into her visceral embodiment, I know Lisa's going to be there saying, I'm here to support you. And so when we say, I choose to amplify this energy in the world, what other people are doing, it's also a great way to look at our core choices, what we are here to create. Number 3, and I'm not giving a lot of time right now because I would love for you to do this in a quiet moment when you have a lot of time, and really get expansive on it, and then make it a daily practice to tune in. We'll talk about that after. Number 3, what do I choose to experience more of in my day-to-day life? What do I choose to experience more of in my day-to-day life with more depth and more frequency? For example, I love swimming in the cenotes here. I adore and get so replenished floating in the ocean. So I am ready and I choose to do more of that in my day-to-day. So number 1, just to recap, what do I wish to see more of in the world? Number 2, what do I choose to amplify other people's energies in the world? It's about amplifying other people's missions. And then what do I choose to experience more of in my day-to-day life with more depth and more frequency? So let's just pause here. What would it look like if you had more rest, if you had more giggles, if you had more delicious sex, if you had more connection with people who are ready to learn from you? What is it that you are choosing to experience with more frequency? And our final and 4th question is, what feelings or experiences do I wish to delete from my realm? What is it that I choose to eliminate from my realm? Say no more, baby. No more whiny friends who are not taking responsibility for themselves. No more ice cream at midnight when I feel lonely and I just want to be held. Whatever it is, what am I saying no to that I get to delete permanently from my realm? Okay. What am I deleting? Write a few things down. Keep them in your head. Letting it out on paper is such a powerful move. Because when we identify our creative and sacred service and our values, something really cool happens. We are empowered with a new filtration system. It is not the blueprint that is impressed on us when it comes to public speaking and like what we're meant to think about before we go on stage. There's all these thoughts. And I'll tell you a secret, those thoughts are literally a collective morphogenetic field. I've never thought about this before. It's just coming in hot. But all of those thoughts and worries about being self-conscious, are they going to care? Is it going to be good enough? Will I freeze up? It is literally a collective field that we've been feeding for hundreds of years, if not thousands. And so by tuning in to your lake of water, your unique choices of what you're uplifting, what you value, what you're bringing more of into the world, you're setting that matrix aside. And it's like, can't touch this. Na, 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 na. And what touches you instead is your own beautiful heart, and being of service to other people matters more than any of that noise. And like I said, it's a filtration system. So here's the thing. Here's the really cool thing, is that it gets to be your new grid, your new lens, like sunglasses. And you ask, is everything that I post, share, publish, is selling, creating, does it get people into this space with me? Is it aligned with my core creative values? Is it generating my values into the world? And then you and I get to only act in ways that empower our values. And we get to see our work through the filter to have, you know, just like everything in your life just gets to feel like a yes or a no. There's no gray zone. There's no more maybe, because you're so centered in your core creation values. How is this landing for you, my loves? Leave an emoji if it is affecting your heart. Thank you for being here, because this is, yeah, Grace says, my sacral authority is radiating. Juliana says, wow. Jackie says, yes, beautiful. It's either a yes or a no. That's right. When we're in tune with our bodies, not only do we get to self-soothe, calm ourselves, say we are doing this all together, but we also get to tune in when a speaking opportunity is a yes or no. Is it the right time for me to publish on Instagram? Yes or no? And we listen to our body's wisdom as the new authority, right? Is this setting aside the matrix, like, I have to do this. If you've set yourself a commitment, do it. Keep your word. Yes. And also tune in every single moment and be like, is this still my truth? Is this still beautiful paradoxes? So I feel like sharing with you a few of my examples of what I choose to create more, if that's okay. It's so refreshing just to bare our soul. So taking this opportunity to practice with you, and it feels really like, yeah, but here we go. I choose to create more adventure and new experiences, like a trip at least every 2 months. I choose to create more experiences where I'm savoring my journey slowly and focusing on my senses. I choose to trust my own timing, not what people say is meant to happen in sequential order of businesses and partnerships and friendships and all of that. I don't trust what's out there. I choose to trust more of what's in here. I choose a devotion to commitment to myself instead of force. Devotion over force feels really important these days. I choose to create more experiences of community like this and grounded support instead of being a solo lone wolf. And finally, I choose lighthearted romance in the name of generating more delight. Yeah, that feels good. Thank you for receiving me. And so what I'm inviting you into here is a daily journaling session to get clear on your core creation values, because it's the game changer. You know, getting really specific is the thing. So find your values, my loves. Reframe yourself into sacred service. Touch your heart. Talk to the parts of you that are scared and know they're going to come with you on the ride. We know that doubt is here for life. He's this big papa energy that likes to push us forward with evolution, and it's only toxic when we turn it inwards on ourselves. Doubt was not designed to be held in a human body. It is the morphogenetic field of human evolution, like desire. So find your values. And when you feel afraid to stand up, to present, to share, to hit press, just ask, who am I doing this for? Who is my one person? Does this align with my values? Yes. Okay, then I got to do it. We're doing this. We're doing this. You are doing this. Your presence here tells me you're doing this. You're literally in the middle of it. No matter how scared or how shut down or how activated you may feel, wherever you are, there's always room for more growth. The world absolutely needs you. And I'll just end by saying, a lot of prophecies all over the world from different cultures, different timelines, Toltec, Olmec, Maya, White Buffalo Woman, the eagle and the condor, they're all saying the same thing. All of the prophecies are saying that we are in a time of remembrance, that the time to remember who we are is now. And that we are actually living out this prophecy. We're living in prophetic times. And by us showing up to spaces like this, to sisterhoods like this, that we're doing it. We are making the prophecy come true. We are bringing in love in places that have been frozen in anger and fear. And through exercises like this, we are bringing more love and more capacity to be powerful in the name of love and share it out loud. So I honor you for your presence here, for being part of this living prophecy that we're all sharing in, because we are remembering who the fuck we really are. And it's amazing. It's amazing. So yeah, you're badass. I feel you. You are all just, you inspire me. So thank you. I'm here for any questions, but we are technically running overtime. So if you need to leave, I completely understand. Your commitment this week has been so inspiring to me, like really. I've been chatting with friends about it, like these women are in it. And tomorrow we get to talk with an expert about global press, This is an edge. This is why I didn't have her come in before I talked today, because for some people, it could be really edgy to talk to Vogue magazine about having themselves featured, their services, their products. It can feel really edgy. And maybe Vogue is not your goal. Maybe it's women's health. I'm not sure what your goal is. That's for you to set based on your values and your new filtration system and your daily journaling practice. The point is that tomorrow we're going to talk about being seen on a global stage and practical steps with Christina Victoria, who has helped me getting to that point with my fashion business alchemy. And I'll tell you, when I saw Marie Claire and Glamour magazine email addresses hit my inbox, I freaked out and I had to go and do this exact method. So we're all in it together. Tomorrow it's at 12 noon EST. Oh, you're amazing. Thank you so much. We're just in this beautiful cycle. And if you're feeling like the power of being in this group energy, know that I am starting a group container on March 1st called Femme Founders. What are you founding? What are you grounded in? We're going to discover all of that together with practical tools around copywriting, confidence. This is my zone of genius, my loves, and it would be an honor to have you inside to get you more expressed and sharing. Whether you have a business or not, it doesn't matter. You're invited, and I'm inviting exactly 12 women, up to 12. So I will email you a link if you would like to apply. All right. Thank you so much. Emily Bauman, over and out. Thank you, and see you tomorrow, either live or in the replay. Bye for now.